My name is Jackson Gaeta. I'm in the 6th grade, and I'll be doing the science fair project on popcorn kernels. This is my abstract. The purpose of this experiment was to test where and how I should store my popcorn kernels to maximize their poppability. To do this experiment, I stored popcorn for 51 days in different temperatures: room temperature, pantry, refrigerator, freezer, and in 3 different containers: original container, Ziploc bag, and glass Tupperware. Independent variables were the containers to use for the storage and the temperature at which they were stored. And the dependent variable was the number of kernels popped. I placed 100 kernels from each test condition into a popcorn popper for 3 minutes in the microwave. And then I counted how many of the kernels didn't pop. I did this 3 times total for each trial. I recorded all of the results and calculated averages for each location with each storage container. The final results of the experiment, order of the average of least unpopped kernels to most unpopped kernels, is Ziploc bag in the refrigerator, Ziploc bag at room temperature, original container in the refrigerator, Ziploc bag in the freezer, original container in freezer, glass Tupperware in refrigerator, original container at room temperature, glass Tupperware at room temperature, and finally, glass Tupperware in freezer. I learned that colder temperatures can improve moisture content of kernels, thus improving poppability. This experiment outcome will help me because I love popcorn and I'm hoping to increase the number of kernels I pop. This is my introduction. Is there a better way to store my popcorn? Popcorn has been around for centuries as a fun snack. When I cook it, there are a lot of kernels left unpopped. Less popcorn wasted, more popcorn for me to eat. This topic is so interesting because I love to eat popcorn. I decided to improve the poppability of my kernels, so I had to do some research. How popcorn pops, why it pops, how can I improve the percent of popcorn, and what affects popcorn's ability to pop. This might be the tastiest science fair project I ever do. What is popcorn? Hulk/pericarp is the sealed shell, outer starch layer, dense inner layer, translucent grains, and where the water droplet is. How to make popcorn. The water droplet is superheated, expands, and ruptures the hole. Popping occurs about 177 degrees Celsius. Ideal moisture content, 14% inside kernel. Hole is non-porous, so water droplet turns to steam and is trapped. Pressure builds and hole pops. Water expands 1,500 times, then cools and hardens jelly starch to popcorn. Microwave stirs water molecules to create heat. Microwaves invisible electromagnetic waves bounce around and heat food by exciting water molecules. Higher moisture content in kernel means more water molecules to expand. What other background information is important before I make my hypothesis? Moisture content is the most important factor affecting popcorn popping. Temperature is important too. Colder temperature improves popping. Airtight container traps moisture. Plastic bag not expected to be airtight. Glass containers will keep them fresher. A drop of 3% in the kernel will make it from popping at all. What are my variables? Independent variables, storage container, glass Tupperware, plastic bag, and original container. Also the temperature where the kernels were stored. Room temperature, refrigerator, freezer. Dependent variable, number of kernels popped out of 100. Controls, same microwave, same air popper, same brand of popcorn with same expiration date, same amount of time popped in microwave, same amount of time stored. This is my hypothesis. If I place the kernels into 3 different types of containers in 3 different temperatures environments, then the glass Tupperware container with the kernels in the refrigerator will have the best poppability, and the one in the Ziploc bag at room temperature will pop the worst because based on what I learned, the glass container in the refrigerator will be more airtight and less porous to water. And being in the refrigerator will lead to less water evaporation out of the kernel. This is my materials and methods. These are the things I needed. What did I do? Purchase 3 identical containers of popcorn with the same expiration date. From container 1, pour some kernels into a Ziploc bag and some into a Pyrex container, then put all 3 of them in a room temperature dark cupboard. From container 2, repeat process but store in the refrigerator, label A. From container 3, repeat process but store in the freezer, label B. Let it sit for 2 weeks in these locations. Remove from one location at a time using gloved hands. Using gloved hands, pull out 100 kernels to place in microwave pop for 3 minutes. Throw away this trial run to make the popcorn popper in the microwave warm. Using gloved hands, pull out 100 kernels to place in a microwave pop for 3 minutes. Count how many haven't popped when time ends. Record findings. Dry microwave container with paper towels. Then repeat the process with the second round of 100 kernels from the same container. Then repeat the process with the third round of 100 kernels from the same container. Repeat steps 10 through 16 for all the following samples. Once I have collected the data, I will calculate the percentage of kernels popped for each sample and determine the average. This is my results. In Table 1, I list each container in each location. I list the total number of unpopped kernels in each trial. Then I give the average number of unpopped kernels for each sample. As you can see, the best is the Ziploc bag in the fridge at 11 average unpopped, and worst is glass Tupperware in freezer at 38 average unpopped. In Graph 1, the x-axis are my independent variables of location, stored, and container. Along the y-axis is the average number of kernels not popped. Interestingly, the glass container Tupperware did the worst in each location compared to the other 2 storage containers, and the Ziploc bag did the best in each location compared to the other 2 containers. Still best poppability was in Ziploc bag stored in the fridge. This is my discussion. Did I prove my hypothesis? No. I believed that the glass Tupperware stored in the refrigerator would have the kernels with the best poppability. The best poppability for the kernels was found in the kernels stored in the refrigerator with the Ziploc bag, so perhaps I was partially correct? But no, because I thought that popcorn stored in cooler temperatures would have less water evaporation. How did this relate to my background information? Less poured container means less water moisture will be lost. Colder temperatures mean less evaporation and higher water content. Refrigerator means less water evaporation. Freezer means too cold for kernels, which damage them. Why do I think these results I obtained? Freezing the water would damage or ruin the kernels. Ziploc bag did better because I squeezed out as much air as I could, meaning that there was minimal air in the bag with the kernels, and I ensured that the seal wasn't intact. Other containers couldn't get the air out, and the water evaporated, and I can't ensure the airtight seal worked. My sources of errors, weaknesses, and limitations. Popcorn kernels stored for 51 days versus 2 weeks. Did not check temperature of microwave before each trial to ensure the same. Could have miscounted. Used fewer popcorn kernels that is recommended in the popper. Temperature and humidity could have changed throughout the day. Cannot control popcorn. Had to use 3 different containers. Only ran 3 tests. What could I change if I did this again? What improvements could I make? Add more kernels to air popper, run trials sooner since shelf life matters for poppability. Run more trials to get more data, simplify my experiment, and only do 1 independent variable at a time. And next, research other brands and methods for popping kernels. This knowledge benefits society because food waste is never a good thing. In conclusion, what is my take-home message? The popcorn kernels stored in the Ziploc bag in the refrigerator had the best poppability. The second best poppability for my kernels came from the Ziploc bag stored at room temperature. From now on, I'm going to be keeping my popcorn kernels in a Ziploc bag. These are my references, and thank you for listening to my report on popcorn kernels. There are a lot of excellent sites for popcorn. These are the first 4 sites I used. These are 5 other sites I used. Thank you.